The 30th of January, Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura.
Mr. Blue. Good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo Furst from Zoom. This is our second share this morning. We're learning Hilchos Kriyas Torah. We're in the Mishnah Siman Kuf Mem Gimel Sif Daled. We're making our way slowly but surely through the Mechaber and then the Ramah. We're at in the second part of the Mechaber where it says V'im Nimtza Toyos Be'emsa Kriyah. If the mistake was found in the Sefer Torah in the middle of the reading of the person who's reading, Goymer Kriyaso b'Sefer HaKosher, the one who's reading, they thinking because they're going to take out a new Sefer Torah, so he should finish his Kriya from the Sefer which is kosher, and Mevorach Achorecha, and he makes a bracha afterwards on that kosher Sefer Torah. But Ein Chozer L'Vrech Lifnai, he doesn't have to go back and make a new bracha beforehand. So let's start with the Mr. Brewer in Sifkat Yud Zayin. Eliezer Tzvi, you'd like to read Sifkat Yud Zayin?
Be'emsa Kriya in the middle of the reading. Hainu afilu kvar koro kama psukim. Adayin bracha achrona eno yochol liptorta atmo b'mashe shekvar kara b'sefer Torah psula. Anybody who has not said the final bracha cannot, I guess, doesn't posture himself with the reading from the first Sefer Torah. Because that was done correctly. I got confused with I got confused there.
Okay, so again, the Mishnah Berurah is explaining why it's not possible. Meaning, I feel kvar kama psukim. Let's say he read in the Puzzle Sefer Torah, they read like 15 psukim already. So they read quite a lot of psukim.
Right.
So therefore, he still has to take out his kosher Sefer Torah and make a bracha achrona on the kosher Sefer Torah.
Not a bracha rishona, just
right,
a
no bracha rishona. Why? Kol shelo beirach adayim bracha achrona ena yochel liktor atzmo b'ma shekvar kara b'sefer Torah b'sar. Meaning, if he hasn't dislodged himself because he hasn't made a bracha achrona, he hasn't dislodged himself from what was read in the Puzzle Sefer Torah. And remember,
gotcha.
Right, and that's b'di'evet. That's b'di'evet good, right? That's b'di'evet good. So now he's got to break himself away from what he started with. Good.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can read 3 psukim in the kosher Sefer Torah. Okay, Gomer, and therefore, with the 3 psukim that he will read in at least minimal in the 3 psukim of the new Sefer kosher Sefer Torah, he can make a bracha achrona on that. Okay.
Yudches Gomer Karasa, he can finish his reading. Hainu Shekriya Shalom Shosh Psukim, 3 psukim in the new Sefer Torah. So if he has read and he found a mistake and there's only 2 psukim left in the Aliyah.
Right.
So in the second Sefer Torah, he reads 3 psukim, so he reads into the next Aliyah to finish, or what?
I think we learned that. Yeah, I think we learned that he goes into the next Aliyah. Let's see. Let's give the Mishna Berurah a chance. He'll probably discuss that point.
Okay.
If it's not, we'll try and find out what it is.
Sure. Okay. Yud test. Eno Chozer Levarach. He doesn't have to make a bracha again. The Sfirla Kebracha Rishona Jeborach Ha'ola Betechila Bekriya Kuras Kurasa. That the bracha Rishona that the Ola made at the beginning of his reading, the Sefer Rishon Ola Gam Luzez also counts for the second Sefer Torah. The Hadaito Baha Yitfilas al Parsha Zu, because his intention was to read the whole Parsha. Mali Sefer Zuma or Acheres. What does it matter whether it's this Sefer Torah or a second one? He wasn't particular on the Sefer Torah, just on he was going to read the Aliyah. Okay, Lifanecha, that's before him. Biladin b'shenimsa hatos bein bracha l'kriya. This is also the case if you found the mistake between the bracha rishona and the reading. Golim Sefer Torah zu, you roll up this Sefer Torah, motzin Sefer Torah cheres l'kroba, and you take out a second Sefer Torah to read from it. The ola shekvar beirach, and the ola was already read, or already made. I'm sorry, he's already made the bracha. Ein tzarach levarach shenis. He doesn't make a second bracha rishona. Ilo hifsik b'siach b'neihem. If he hasn't made a break between them. V'kom u'v'makom shenagu b'zeh she'ola chozer u'mivarech gamkein ein lamachos. Well, if the minhag of the place is that the ola should make a bracha on the second Sefer Torah, we don't protest against this. Sheish lahem amasa yismachun. Because they have what to rely on. In Kavari for already.
They're not really, so they're really not supposed to do it, but if they go ahead and do it, so we let it go by. You don't have to start a protest in the shul about it.
Okay. Avim Kavar already read. Deazu, this opinion. Holechas al Mechaber argues on the Mechaber. Kmoshe Kavdu the Hakdam is brought above in the introduction.
Okay, Eli, this Chaf Aleph is going on the Ramah, so we have to
Okay.
go up to the Shulchan Aruch to the Ramah. We'll see the Ramah, and then we'll come back to this Chaf Aleph.
Okay. Okay. The Im Kvar Kara Imo Shlosh Pesukim. You already read 3 Pesukim. The Afshal Hafsik, and you can take a break where you are. Hoskin Shom, you stop here. Uvuvorech Acharach, you make the bracha achrona. Okay. Mishalimim Aminyan b'Sefer Torah Acheres. So you finish the aliyahs from the next Sefer Torah, so motzin that you take out. The motzin a second one. If motzin acheres, you take another Sefer Torah out. Dafka shnimsa Torah skomen. It's specifically when you find a real mistake. About meshuvah aseros, the aseros, but if it's just a missing letter or an extra letter, ein hotzia acheres, you don't take a second Sefer Torah out. She'ein Sifrei Torah shalanu makdim medaikin kol kach. Shenomar she'acheret here yoter kosher. We're not medactic about these letters, and who's to say the second Sefer Torah is any better than the one you're reading from now?
Okay, let's stop there. Let's stop there with the Ramah. Let's go see the Mishnah because there are lots of details in the Mishnah here. Lots of details. Okay, we're gonna go slow here. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Chufal, Imkar, you've already read 3 Pesukim from the first Sefer Torah. De'ezu Holekas al Mechaber. This opinion argues on the Mechaber. Kmoshe Kosavnu Le'el the Hakdam, which is written above in the introduction. V'hava like Liktov B'lashon V'yesh Omrim Lo Shekain Darko B'kama Mikomos. And therefore we have to write this in the a language of the Yesh Omrim that other people say this, okay, except it is the derech in many places to do it this way. It's
right. I mean, even though it's a different opinion than was expressed in the Mechaber, and therefore there's a machlokas, a dispute here, and it really should be written in Yesh Omrim. But as the Mishna says, many places the Ramah did not put in Yesh Omrim, even though it's appropriate to have used that expression.
Okay. After the Hafsik, it's possible to take a break. Here's explanation. The 3 Pesukim that were part of the Parsha. I guess there's more than 3 Pesukim left to the next Parsha. Okay. And it's only 2 Pesukim left to the next Parsha. Im kain yefshar lo lepasuk sham. You can't break where you are. Yigmor kuros b'sefer kasher ad haparsha. Then you would complete the second Sefer Torah until the end of the Parsha canal. That seems to be the correct opinion. You make a bracha after it. The sphere lay the kivin shekaru shlosh pesukim kodem shenode hatos. Since you had 3 pesukim before you realized there was a mistake, yatsa bezeh yidei kriyasa. Then you fulfilled your obligation for kriya from this first Sefer Torah. Rumela tzarich levarech acharecha. Therefore, you certainly have to make a bracha after it. Vein tzarich shum shuv ligmar kriyaso b'sefer hakosher. You don't have to do anything to complete the reading in the second Sefer Torah. Aval b'shenimsa hatos achar shekaru rak shnei psukim. But if you found a mistake after you've only read 2 psukim, the efshalo lifsok sham, where it's impossible to break at this point, moda l'machabi agrees to the mechaber to gomer kriyos b'sefer hakosher u'mevorech acharecha. Then you finish the reading from the second Sefer Torah and you make a bracha after it. Ba'ayin b'vir halacha berarnu b'shem kama achronim, who explains the name of many achronim. The Cain yesh linho l'maisa kepsak al shulchan aruch. We practice after the psak of the shulchan aruch. Ukri marshe hikriu harama, and is a way that the Rama makes a compromise. Hakriya harama. The imlo b'makom sheyesh minhag kavua. If you're in a place that does not have a fixed minhag of what to do here,
if that's the case, I mean, if you have a minhag which is been established, so you follow the minhag. If not, you should go like the mechaber, according to the way the Ramah had made the adjustment.
Okay. If you don't have a fixed minhag in the ear, the das magen Avram, you should, according to the opinion of the Magen Avram, shetafas b'shitas hamordechai, who takes hold of the opinion of the Mordechai, sheviu b'hakdama, that we brought in the hakdama. Elahem l'shanos minhagim. You don't have to. You shouldn't change your minhag. If you but he says if you don't have a minhag, you shouldn't change it. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, what's the word?
Did I just translate that?
Yeah, shanos minhagim. Meaning, I think, meaning if there's no minhag kavua, so. If the minhag is not, if there's no minhag in the ear, which is going like the Magen Avraham, I think you're saying not to change from the minhag of the Magen Avraham according to the Mordechai. Don't change.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what he's saying. Don't change from the Magen Avraham. I mean, if you don't have any minhag yourselves, so the halacha will be for you like the Magen Avraham according to the Morgan, and not to change from that minhag. I think that's what he means to say.
Okay. Noagim shalo lahotzi sefer Torah acheres b'shvil maftir, and we are knowing not to bring out a second sefer Torah because of the maftir. Dahainu im nimsa tos acher shekvar karu kol sidra kodim she'amru shekadish, because that's if you found the mistake after you've already finished all the readings, but before you said Kaddish. Lo yotze sefer Torah acheres b'shvil maftir. You don't take a second sefer Torah after the maftir. O samchinin B'di'eved al oso shakora achron she'ola gam b'shvil maftir. And you would read what the last person read and use that as the maftir. Lo yikra od hapam b'torah. And you wouldn't read again in the Sefer Torah. So you're saying you wouldn't do a maftir in this case at all?
I guess not. Yeah, I guess in this case, they just
Okay.
discerned from what was read the last.
Ketekay Milan b'simin Reish Pei Beis, as we explain later on in Reish Pei Beis. Okay. Hamaftir ola leminyan shiva. The maftir counts towards minyan of 7. The kaddish yomer l'achar brachos haftorah haftorah ha'akronos. And you say so the maftir would count as one of the 7, and you would say kaddish after the final bracha of the haftorah. Okay.
Meaning
So I guess if you had read 7 aliyahs and you have found a mistake at the end before you said kaddish, you wouldn't call up a maftir. The guy who had shvi would be the maftir, and he would say the brachas on the haftorah, and then after he finished the brachas on the haftorah, then you would say the kaddish.
Apparently.
I think that's what he said. Okay.
Mm.
If you don't find a mistake until after you said Kaddish, Yikra Lamafti B'Sefer Torah Zu Shlosh Pesukim below bracha. Then the Maftir should read from the Sefer Torah with the mistake 3 Pesukim, but he wouldn't say a bracha on it.
Wow.
Below Kaddish, or you would say another Kaddish upon Haftorah after the Haftorah is done. Excuse me. And if you found the mistake in the middle of the reading for Shvi, Das Mogen Avram, the opinion of the Mogen Avram is the Gomer HaKoreh ad Sofa Sedra. You finish the reading to the end of the Parsha, the Sefer Torah Zu, in the middle of this Apostle Sefer Torah. Lolo Kriyaso Zu Gam Bishvil Hamaftir. And you use that, you use that reading as the maftir also.
Yeah.
To come along, the Simon Reish Pei Beis, as we'll explain in Reish Pei Beis. Yaftir Banavi, because then you would make a bracha afterwards, and then you would read from the Navi, the Akar Kach. Where am I? Okay. Yomer Kaddish. Then you would say Kaddish. Okay. The Harbe Achronim Hoken al Zeh, and many Achronim argue on this. The Sovereign, they hold the Ein Cholet Bein Tals Shenimsa B'Shvi L'Tals Shenimsa B'Shar Hakriyim. We don't make a difference between a mistake that's made in Shvi and a mistake that's found in Shvi and the mistake that was found in any of the other aliyahs. Therefore, im lo kora adayin shlosh psuchim gomer kriyosu b'sefer kosher. If you haven't read 3 psukim for Shvi, then you would read from a second Torah. You would read Shvi from the second Sefer Torah. In Kvar Korah Shlosh Psukim B'Shvi V'Hudin Ba'achron, and if you already read 3 Psukim for Shvi, and certainly if you had Achron after that, you had read 3 Psukim there. Posukim Borik, you stop and you make a bracha. V'Kriyal Acher Sefer Torah Kasher Mimakom She Pasuk Ola, and you would continue reading in a kosher Sefer Torah from where you stopped. Umashma Magin Geborim Dechein Yesh Linhog. And it's clear from the Magin Geborim that is the minhag.
We should do it that way.
V'im lo b'minhag shenoag b'zeh hamagin Avram, if you do not follow the minhag of the Magin Avram in this place. V'nitza talos acher shakori shvi. If you find a mistake after you've read Shvi, וכבר בערך באחרונה ועדיין לא קראו כל סדרה, and you've called up the Achron, another, you call up another, and you haven't read the any of this, you haven't read anything for the last person. Then you need, according to everybody, you need to take the second Sefer Torah out. You have to complete the Sedra, you have to complete the Parsha. You read the second with a bracha, and you would continue as on other Shabbosim.
Right.
Okay. The im nimtza taos the Sefer Torah b'shas kriyas hamaftir. If you find a mistake in the Sefer Torah during the maftir on Shabbos, you finish the reading, but you don't talk afterwards. The calls le'inyan maftir shel Shabbos. This is all according when you have a maftir on Shabbos. Although the haftorah Yom Tov or shel Arba Parshos Ukiyotzibo, but if the maftir is for Yom Tov or one of the Dalit Parshos, Shekruso Hamaftir the Sefer Sheni Hulachovas Hayom, and where the reading is from the second Sefer Torah, it's a chiv of the day anyhow. Nimtza Bota, and you find a mistake, Yesh Lahotzi Acheres, you have to take another Sefer Torah out. As if there had been a mistake in the regular reading of Shabbos. So what he's saying here is if you have to take a second Sefer Torah out from the maftir anyhow, so you've taken a second Sefer Torah out and you find a mistake in it, then you need to take a third Sefer Torah out. Because there's a chiyuv on the day to read from a maftir. So you need to have a kosher reading for the maftir.
Right. Good.
Okay. Umashim Arminian, you finished the count, I guess the count of the Aliyah. Berura din sheyachel lahosif shama, and then certainly this also din if you add extra Aliyahs here. V'ayin la'el b'sif katan tasvav, because it's tasvav. A taz gomer, a real mistake. Kagon shahaya chaser o yoser teva o os achas. So it's missing or extra a word or a single letter. Or shahaya kriya b'makom ksiv, where it was written as supposed to be read. Or pesuchim b'makom stuma, or there's a break. It's supposed to
columns are open when the
close, or the hachaf, or the other way around.
Right.
So that's pesucha or stuma. If that's incorrect, that's enough to possibly say for Torah. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but so Halacha Moshe Mishna, if I'm not mistaken, so has to be
sure.
That's part of the Masorah. So anything that's going to violate the Masorah is going to be a pasul.
Okay, now he said his first name was going to try a chaser o yeser teva o os achas, or a single letter. But we learned in the Mishna Berura, or even in fact in the Ramah, he says if it's chaser or mole, we don't worry about it because we're not medactic about the single letters.
Right. So those are the words that are supposed to be chaser or mole. There are certain words.
Okay, gotcha.
That purposely they're lacking or adding an extra letter, right? So in those words, so that's also it's not so clear. We'll have to see the Mishna Berura if everyone's in agreement to this. Right? But that's because that's also Masorah. It's absolutely Halacha Moshe Mishna. This has been handed down from generation to generation.
Gotcha. Okay, got it.
Good.
Okay. Okay, but here again, this is the rule in Nimtza Shtei Tevos Shelo Hirchuk Karoi. If you see two words that aren't separated correctly, okay. Ad Shetinuk Velo Hikim Velo tipesh kora keteva achas, that a child couldn't differentiate them, or a tipesh would read them as one word, or acha, the way around. Shehirchik be'emsa hateva achinira latinok b'shteta, like it's two words. Kedela Omer, Pedak Sur, Elit Sur, Aminadav, Kahana. I guess these words, these are long names, and they're written with a space in between. They're inside them, so you would think there were two names. That would be a mistake.
Right.
Shemikubal Yadenu Sheteva Achas, because our Kabbalah is that these are one word. These are supposed to be read as one word. You need to stay shitos sorach acheres. If you find it written as two words, you have to bring out another Sefer Torah. Otios v'tevos shenimchachu kitzaz, or letters or words that are erased slightly or missing slightly. Im Yeshua Nikar Shatinach Delo Hikim Latifa Shahara Kroso Eitzal Klotze Acheres. I guess if a child can read it correctly, or a tipesh would be able to read it.
Right.
You don't have to take a second Sefer Torah out. But if you did do it, it would be okay. If the black ink is missing, the nisha mara adamdim, there's like a red residue there. Have a shinu mara the puzzle. That's considered a shinu mara, a change in the appearance, and that's going to be puzzle. Can't cost it b'derech hachayim b'shem Eli Rabba. That's what the Derech Chaim writes in Eli Rabba. Daim b'masha kasavnu la'el b'simen lamed beis. The Mishna Berura Sif Katan Kaf Chaf Ches b'shem Sam Sofer. So he wrote their names in Sam Sofer. B'perish La'inyan Le'etzi Acheres b'vadai. We're not in the Kol issue of taking out a second Sefer Torah. We're not machmir about this. The Nikru Hatapiros Shabin Urea Le Urea. I guess this is the stitches that are between the cloths that are connected together. Afil Nikra Harov Dayan Mechuberes Bechamesh or Beshesh Tiforas Shel Kayama kosher. So I guess if some of the threads are missing, but there's 5 or 6 stitches that are still there, in order to keep the Sefer Torah together, it's still going to be kosher. But if there's less than that, then you need to take a second Sefer Torah out. Mihumash Yimse Nikra B'chumash Echad Mina Chumashim B'Sefer Torah Zu. This is when you find it in one chumash in the Sefer Torah. Ein lafso shar chumushim likrobahem. That doesn't possible the other chumashim to prevent you from reading from them, which is bo'er b'sof hagah, as we see at the end of the hagah. Okay.
Very good.
Very good place to.
In the middle of a lot of things here, but
Yeah.
This is very common. Next thing, Shasta, you see that they're stuck together. That you see that's a lot of times the question comes up during the Kriyas. Okay, very good, Elias. It's a very good reading. Thank you. Appreciate
Okay.
that.
Have a good day, everybody.
Wonderful day to everyone, and see you.
Same to you.
Okay. Well,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye.